IVM.
Hi and welcome to Know Your Kanoon. This is Amber from Corpus Legal and welcome to today's edition. Today we have someone very interesting on the show. The guy is an outstanding entrepreneur. He's had his own IT firm established and he's got many other ventures working for him in Mumbai. So I would like to welcome Sandeep on the show. Hi Sandeep, good morning to you.
Hi Amber, good morning. Thank you for having me on your show.
Sandeep, would you like to introduce yourself by mentioning what all you've been through, since I've just given a small bio on you?
Yeah, so as far as my business life is concerned, it's been over 6 years that I've been working now. So after quitting JP Morgan Chase, I started working on my own startup venture, which dealt with adventure tourism. So I had a vision to highlight a lot of adventure tourism possibilities in India. And ever since it's been on, then I've been part of various businesses as a consultant. Now I also have my own digital agency working with various brands for their digital exposure and so on.
All right. So you're an overall, I think, fine-tuned entrepreneur, I must say. So Sandeep, why today I thought for our listeners it'll be interesting to listen in is, since you've been in the market, you've seen the downside and the upsides of various other stuffs.
Yeah.
And I think IT has been primarily your one of the main fortes and you're doing pretty well in that. So let's take up that section where I want to talk about how difficult is it to set up something like this in India for all those budding guys who would want to, budding entrepreneurs who want to look at all those laws that affected you, or maybe the regime. I rather not laws, I would talk about the regime, the startup regime in India, the initiatives by the government, or in say, how deeply, it affects a budding entrepreneur and his propositions in the country. Maybe if you could talk around that, how the public administration is, how's the government in giving approvals and all those necessary licenses that you needed, stuff around that. If you could just talk about that maybe and give an insight to all these budding entrepreneurs.
Sure, but so it's a very interesting topic, and I have also learned a lot of things hard way as my experience went on. Talking about the entrepreneurs when they start up, IT as an industry, or let's say any industry, you've got to get going. You've got to be upgrading yourself every day, especially talking about information technology. Anything around technology, if you're not updated, what are you going to present yourself to? What are you going to talk to your clients about? How are you going to project yourself? So one thing is for sure that you have to upgrade you've got to have milestones. Okay, This is something that I'm going to doing today. This is working for the market. Then you've got to come back with something which is new, which is fresh. You've got to try with new technologies and then see how it goes. Talking about the legalities around it, India as a country, we are quite conservative.
Absolutely.
We are very skeptical about taking up new technologies. We get settled very easily with things. Right. And as we are a growing nation, as we are a developing nation, so the client side of it, they believe in something that the professional or the company has to tell them.
Right.
Now, just to give you an example of the blockchain industry.
Yes.
Blockchain,
been in dispute of recently.
It's been in dispute. It came in. A lot of doubts came around it. People linked it with crypto industry, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But a lot of people need to understand, this is just a reference that I'm using just to give you an idea. The people need to understand that it's a separate technology in itself.
Absolutely.
You can make many things out of it. It took quite a lot of time for a lot of people to understand what is it. And then slowly and gradually, the government organizations or large-scale organizations started talking about it. That's when they understood the power of it. And a lot of people, I won't be naming brands or any institutions here, but now they want to apply.
Absolutely.
But if you talk about other countries, you talk about US, you talk about Europe, these places, they are way forward. They want to see what's going on. They want to see what's new. Because they have a mentality, what's the harm in trying?
Absolutely.
Right? If you're coding something so this is a little technical, if you're coding something on PHP or on Java or .NET on these technologies, they're pretty good.
Absolutely.
They have a lot of new things which are happening. But at the same time, there are a lot of new technologies which are evolving around it. So who's going to test it? Some who do, they're doing exceptionally well. Some who are not, they're struggling.
No, so my whole point around, again, maybe don't you feel that they are reserved because our our compliance mechanism around this particular area, which is software and tech, is not that strong or compliant, that they are shying away from, maybe letting this tech flow in India, like let's say blockchain, or maybe for that matter of fact, cryptocurrency in India, like bitcoins. We didn't have any definite laws, or even the cyber laws or the software industry did not have. I think software industry might have had, but our laws were not equipped. Do you feel that was the reason why it could not flourish, or it was deemed illegal, and again we could not trace the source and stuff around that? What do you feel about that?
See, as far as the compliances bit is concerned, what the government is going to do, what the government is not going to do, what are my benefits as an entrepreneur,
Yes.
or a general citizen? I think a major dispute or a major question mark is to do with the communication that's been delivered to the citizen.
Okay.
If you're making a policy,
Yes.
which is to my benefit, if I don't know about that policy, what's the point of even having that policy?
Absolutely.
You wouldn't be surprised. Just walk out to the road and ask a citizen about the citizen's rights, and they wouldn't know.
Absolutely. So there's lack of awareness.
There's lack of awareness. You want to come up with 10 policies, but out of 10, even if 3 are not heard, people don't know. What's the point of making those 10? A lot of startup owners don't know that they can get an X amount of funding for various sectors in business if they want to start up with something.
So you're
They
saying
don't know
there's
about
no
it.
portal for that as well?
No, we need a strong communication channel, which I think this latest government is quite capable of. They're pretty good with their communications, but I think they need to come up with the example Swachh Bharat Abhiyan.
Right.
They came up with a policy, they came up with a plan, they communicated it so well, people know what is Swachh Bharat. Now they know that, okay, I am not going to get into something like that. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't want dirt. I'm not going to litter.
Yeah.
Similarly, educate the people that, okay, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm going to get to something in manufacturing. I think government can give me X amount of money to put my basic machinery. I can get started.
Yeah.
People don't know that.
So how was your experience in this? Because you started way back, like before even stuff came into picture. So what was your experience? Do you have to go through a lot of troubles to this in
Yeah,
the approvals and knowing the regulations?
Yeah, so as far as me, I'm concerned, or any startup owner, and as this show is also based a lot
Yeah.
on the legal side, so I must highlight this, that we don't do a lot of study.
Right.
A lot of entrepreneurs, we don't do a lot of study.
Right.
I know that, it's very easy to put it on the government.
Yes.
For an example, I just said that, okay, communications are not put forward.
Yeah.
Fair enough. When you know that your government is not giving you a lot of communications
Yeah.
around it, it's not available in day-to-day life. What am I doing as a homework?
Yeah.
I made a lot of mistakes. You need to know about your taxations in business.
Absolutely.
You need to know that, okay, as an entrepreneur, do I need a proprietorship for a certain period
Yeah.
of time? Do I need a partnership firm?
Yeah.
Do I need an LLP? Do
Yeah.
I need a private limited?
Yeah.
You have to have all that knowledge.
Yeah.
And what are the benefits? What are the protections which are available with these different companies?
Yeah.
Like a proprietary firm, pretty easy to go. Just go out there, basic paperwork, you are on.
Yeah.
But do you know that the liabilities involved over there are up
Absolutely.
to what percentage?
Absolutely.
And what all can be achieved with that kind of a firm? What
Yeah.
are the compliances? Do you really need to go and do a lot of filing? Who's your CA? Who's your consultant? Or if you are doing it yourself, now that the government is bringing in a lot of systems where they're trying to make people equipped to take care of their compliances and taxations.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, that's not an easy cake to do.
I know.
Right. So we need a professional there. A lot of entrepreneurs make a mistake with taxations and GSTs and because they don't know.
They don't know.
And let me be honest, I have made those mistakes on a larger scale. It's not their fault. An entrepreneur is somebody who's cracking up an idea. That guy has already got a ton of responsibility because
Yeah.
he has to first make an idea.
Yeah.
He has to run in the market to get himself funded.
Yeah.
Situation 1, you are funded, fantastic, business is on, let's go. Situation 2, you're not funded, you have to bootstrap. Then you have to make your team. Deliverables, go in the market, marketing, advertising, he's got a ton of things to handle. Accounts is, I know, very important. Legal and accounts is a very important part
Yeah.
of it. We need to give this a lot of importance.
Right.
And because of this, they don't understand, but they land up into liabilities eventually.
Right.
2 years, 3 years down the
Yes.
business, fantastic marketing. You're not highlighted yet because you're not making a lot of
Yeah.
big turnovers or
Yeah.
anything around that.
Yeah.
But the moment you get into the big league,
Yeah.
you have these phone calls and emails coming to you that you've not done this, you've not done that. That is where it gets all messed up.
Absolutely.
So had it been that our entrepreneurs or the guys who are into startups If they go out there, read what's available, consult with the right people. Okay, what are my legalities around it?
Yeah.
What kind of company should I be forming? How many times do I have to file? What are the bills that I have to take care of?
Yeah.
Should I be saving all the bills that I pay?
Yeah.
Are they going to give me X amount of benefit?
Yeah.
Yes, no, maybe. Everything around it. Then it gets subjective to what business you are in. You are into a restaurant business.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, so by the way, I have also been into a restaurant business as a partner with somebody into QSR.
Yeah.
A lot of so in my research phase, I spoke to a lot of startup founders who are into QSR space, and you'd be shocked to know that they did not even know that there are licenses which exist and which are mandates. And because of those licenses, they were facing a lot of action from the government.
All right.
There are X number of licenses that you're supposed to acquire before you get into QSR space. That this is subjective. I'm into IT, or I'm into restaurant, or I'm into laundry, or I'm into adventure tourism travel. We need to know each and everything.
So there are a lot of discrepancies, and rather rightly said by you. So I had some clients back in the day when I was with PwC, and I remember, and post that also I've had some clients where, like export of services is a major issue in the IT industry, and taxability is free. There are issues around that. Then there are different benefits given by the firm for export of services for the IT sector. Also, tax abatements, tax structuring is different. A lot of it depends upon the place of consumption of your services and stuff like that. I think the crucial point here being again is you should know your compliances before you jump into any kind of business. Starting it is easy, but compliances. But coming to specifically IT business again, and on that front only, did you really face a lot of hardship, you would say, in the compliance sector? Again, I would reiterate, like, what were the stages where you felt it was the most cumbersome to run this IT, to run this IT setup which you have right now? Where did you face the most amount of flack from the government side? Was it the approvals, or was it the licensing, or was it just meeting those guys to get these approvals sorted? What was the most cumbersome part in this?
See, we all go through a lot of challenges. So my first business was... it wasn't e-commerce, but it wasn't IT as such. So, but eventually, as I move forward in business, I ensure that I'm doing my research, and I ensure that I'm doing a lot of talking with the right people. So, and there's a CA firm which is involved, and then there are a lot of legal people now that are involved. So now there's a lot of due diligence which goes into place whenever I'm taking any step. But yes, in your initial days, you don't know what's happening. The major mess up is you don't know the consequences of it. From something as small as setting up, registering your firm, all the way going up to IT business. So as I said, I have a digital agency. Let me just give you a little example around legalities of that. You are doing a lot of branding for people. You're into advertising space. You have a digital agency. You're making some technology, some website, some application, or some social media campaign for somebody. Now, a lot of agencies... if I want to build a campaign for you, you are a car brand, okay? You want to come up with something. You're launching a new car. And you've given me a mandate that, Sandeep, I need X amount of designs from you. This is going to be the communication like. As an agency, I'm supposed to get back to you with the ideas. I start building a campaign. A lot of agencies don't know that the sourcing that they take in terms of design and content, they have to see the IP rights around it. They just want to go on Google, pick up stuff, and they just do it. Take adaptations of design. Taking adaptation is fine. You cannot copy somebody. And then you as a client, you have to face some notices from the client. Okay, then you get back to the agency. This is a very small example. There are many such things that happen around it. Once again, educating ourselves is the best thing that we can do.
All right. So compliance is, I would say, again, since I've also worked at the compliance side of a lot of business sectors, and I had somebody writing into me about one of their queries that they wanted to start a F&B business of catering, and what all licenses they would need from FSI or from the Bombay Shop Establishment Act to get approvals, and then you would know licenses in terms of operating the services post 10 p.m. and stuff around that, and major issues come into the foreplay when you have to go to these authorities and interact with them to get these licenses, like the most common being the liquor license, right, which you all have for parties. It's hardly of any cost, but you end up paying 2-3 times more, because that's the demand they have, right? The so-called uncalled for demand which they have on their respective table, and you pay that and then you get that license, and that's also restrictive. So I think the compliance mechanism, or the cloud as we say around, especially the IT sector, I would say it's very complex. ITS, IT, software, digital marketing, as he's talking about this stuff, is really very dicey. There's a very small difference. Even the IT Act governs most of your transactions, and then taxation is very diverse. So for all our listeners out there, these are some of the areas that you must look at when you start, and we'll be covering these areas in detail in terms of what specific licenses you would need to run that. So Sandeep, maybe a take on that. What are these some of the specific licenses you feel that are of utmost importance, and one should concentrate on that, or approvals which one would should concentrate. Some of the specific, not all, maybe if you could tell our listeners when jumping into an IT setup.
Okay, so as I said earlier, that getting into any kind of licenses or any kind of compliances around it, it's very subjective. That what business are you into?
Yeah.
Talking about IT, you have to take care of your taxation bit.
That's the most
your
important.
Formation, your taxation, very important.
Yes.
What are you collecting? How are you collecting?
Right.
All right. And what are you supposed to do as a company with the government?
Right.
Then getting on the private side of it, the private sector side of it, you need to know that the softwares that you have in your offices that you're using, are they compromised, or they are legit? Because if they are not legit, and if there's a certain company which comes to know, they're going to raid you.
They're going to raid you.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when that happens, then comes the government along with them. So they never come alone.
They come with the government.
They come to your office with authorities. And those softwares, yes, they're expensive.
Yeah.
They are not an easygoing task for a lot of starting up guys.
Yeah.
But it's a necessity.
It's a necessity.
Now, what the government probably can do is that how can they make that process simple? Like if there's a guy who's just starting up a business with $50,000, you cannot expect him to have a license of 3 lakh or 4 lakh or 5 lakh rupees, and plus he's supposed to have an office also, a team also, X, Y, and Z.
It's difficult to do that.
It's difficult to do that. Coming back to the QSR, the restaurant side of it, there's a fire license, there's an electric license, then there's a food license, health license.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even know that maybe your authorities, so a lot of things are happening online by the way now. You just go online, you apply for it, they come and they check it. You first, before taking a place for your restaurant or a QSR, you first need to see that is that place going to get licenses. Example, for a fire license, you need to have 2 exits.
That's a mandatory.
That's a mandate. If you don't have 2 exits, you're not going to get a fire license.
And many people don't know that.
And then you imagine that, okay, you know what, I'm going to maybe do something with the authorities and maybe I'm going to get some things. Look, I don't know. I don't want to name people here. Maybe some places are running like that, and we've had incidents in Bombay, and it has resulted badly. And because of those couple of examples, a lot of plunge had to be taken by a lot of people who were trying to do a lot of legit stuff. So another thing is that as I started off my talk, that communication channels have to be so smooth to remove one major part, which is called middlemen. When these agents come into picture, okay, if a license is costing you X amount of money, the process is super simple. There's nothing to do with it. These agents want to come and give you a Y cost, create so many complexities around it. And by that time you even reach the authority, you want to give up thinking, okay, I'm just going to make my way somehow. That is where it gets, messed up.
So some of the areas which we've highlighted for our listeners, we're going to talk in specific about them in my next episode, where we try to cover these, and we talk about how to approach them, how to apply for these licenses around these business areas. And specifically towards the end of the show, I would also like to take up a query which was written in to me by one Mr. Arun, if I'm not wrong. And the query is regarding a challan being issued by a constable, and he was not the requisite authority. Neither was the machine his. It was borrowed from the officer, and there was no signature on that. So my friend, completely that's a violation in terms of not him giving the challan, but in terms of not requisite signatures and stuff being present on it. You can dispute the same with the authorities concerned, but I would necessarily say that, upon that, please do pay the challan if you did cause a violation. You can question the authorities on the authenticity of it, as I had rightly said in one of my shows that, who can issue a particular challan. Not every constable can issue you a challan. The challan has to be issued by someone of a ranking officer, and in that case, if it has been issued without any signatures, you can dispute the same, and you can complain on the same that there was no valid signature on the challan. And if you've committed the crime, please do pay the challan. That won't be an excuse that I'll not pay it because it's not been rightly given. But you can dispute your right to having a very correct way of being challaned over it, and for that you'll need to contact your local district, or area police station for the traffic jurisdiction. In case that does not work, please do put it further up when you are appearing before the court, with respective judicial magistrates or traffic court or whatever you have in your area. Please do approach to them and then put it forward that the challan is not valid because it does not have the right initials and the credentials for it. Though I can give you an example that it would be disputed on grounds that it is a valid challan because issued by a governing authority, but you can definitely dispute the signatures and other stuff that it was not rightly issued by the correct officer to me, and that is your right. So more on that, I'll be replying to you on your email, and I just thought I'll just take it up on the show and give it a small jab. Thanks for tuning into the show, and we'll be catching you in the next episode in conversation with our guest Sandeep Malik. We'll be taking up issues around licenses and those areas regarding HR laws which really affect most of the entrepreneurs, and how entrepreneurs can capitalize on realizing the potential and essentials of this, and also how middlemen can be eliminated while doing your own work. Thank you for listening to Know Your Kanoon. For more queries and questions, please contact me at contact@corpuslegal.in. Catch Know Your Kanoon every week on the IVM website or the app or anywhere you get your podcast from.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you enjoy listening to content on the IVM Podcast Network, let me tell you about a couple of things that you should check out this week. On Football Shootball, host Gaurav, Karthik and Soa talk about the Super Saturday game Arsenal versus Liverpool and discuss how everyone fared in the Fantasy Premier League. On Geek Fruit, Jishnu and Dinkar ponder over what is a C-list superstar and which Hollywood stars qualify. On Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Anirudh and Janice discuss Netflix originals Glow and Orange is the New Black, which are back with new seasons. On Marbles Lost and Found, Zen and Avanti are joined by podcast producer Janam Divan for part 2 of dealing with grief and loss. On What a Play, Akash and Siddharth are joined by fellow comedian Harmanpreet Singh. They talk about fast bowler Jofra Archer, the India-West Indies series, Ravi Shastri getting reappointed as coach, and a whole lot more. Thanks, and we hope to see you again soon.
Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Careers in the new podcast series presented by Accenture. I'm your host Shiladitya Mukhopadhyay. In this podcast series, we'll get you the latest and greatest in the world of technology that's shaping the future of business as we know it. We're talking intelligent platforms, cloud, AI, blockchain, extended reality, and a whole lot more. Every fortnight on Wednesdays, we'll have for you a hot topic with expert speakers from Accenture talking about top trends in the space, how these are changing the world and creating growth across industries. And importantly, we'll tell you how you can learn more, build your skills and expertise to grow and stay relevant in your career. Episodes out on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcast from.